Oh, if listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure to give us 5 stars. Also, thank you so much to the people at Prepper for cutting down these highlights for the YouTubes. Woo, all right. Greg.
Okay.
How are you feeling, man?
I feel fine. I feel like it's fine. I agree that every episode gets better. I agree. I mean, there's a lot of things to appreciate. I think Dominique Thorne is showing a lot of a range comparatively to the limited time she had in Wakanda Forever, and the family dynamics I'm enjoying a lot. I think this show is littered with a lot of intent versus some conflict on execution. But sometimes the intention also is working with the action they're providing, like the relationship with Alden Ehrenreich, Ezekiel is easily my favorite part of the show. Like their relationship, their back and forth as acting and writing, it is the part that feels the most natural. It is one of the rare parts where I feel like the show actually sings. And I think sort of if I'm looking at kind of like a graph on a Lifeline chart, I kind of feel like it's sort of this one line for a lot of the experience, but sometimes the line goes up when we're with specifically them, and the relationship I like too with Natalie, that's been growing on me, and I think when they explore the ethical discussions of what they're creating, and then even with these, I think the last 10 minutes of this particular episode 3 were some of the strongest of the 3 episodes that we watched. Like I actually felt some shit in the moment. And I was saying during it how sometimes I think a lot of movies have been guilty of this, where they throw in like a lot of soundtracks to provide personality and vibe and aura. But that it kind of seems like they're using that to mask some shortcomings in the actual filmmaking that they did. And I don't feel like it's exactly that. I just don't feel like it's super strong with a lot of the filmmaking. But then this was the 3rd episode was the one that actually had like a good amount of scenes where there was a good synergy and harmony from soundtrack to actual visual. But my overall feelings, I'm sure we're gonna go around the round table here a little bit more. I'm like, it's literally like, it's fine. Like that's how most of this has felt to me, is like, it's fine with almost a lot of like, if I isolate this moment, I really like this moment. If I isolate this dynamic, I really like this. But if you're looking at like a complete picture, most of the time it's feeling like fine to me, and not like you guys seem to really one of you said it was like the 3rd episode was great, and I'm like I think it was good. I didn't find any of these episodes particularly great, but sometimes there are great moments to me, and then other times it's just kind of, it took a while to pick up. It took a while for me, and it felt a little bit flatlined. But yeah, whatever. I'm here. Yeah.
All right. Coy, how you doing?
I can't tell, and I've been trying to actually separate to be more fair to it. I can't tell how much of it is my enjoyment of being in anticipation of it and my love of the comic, because I did think the 3rd episode was great, but it felt like it was great because of the payoff of everything that built to it, and I definitely struggled in the first 2. I'm enjoying the things I knew I would, which is why I keep asking, is this me enjoying it or me thinking ahead 3 years? Like, I knew I'd like Dominique Thorne as Riri because I think she is the character and it's a character I like. I knew I'd like Alden because I think Alden is one of the most slept on actors working. I knew those elements, but I definitely find when it's on the other team, like if it's not family or Alden or Xavier, I drift. And that's not good because it's largely about her newfound family. And I'm really not connecting. Like if you asked me a single attribute about Slug or the twins or anything, I'd be like, and it is a struggle when they have so much screen time. And I get that you can only do so much with how much time, but they have a lot of time. And I have things I like about the mom, and she has the least screen time, maybe next to Xavier. So it's just like the elements that aren't working are strong, but the things that are working are really high. So like I'm really liking all of the what you have to do to get ahead in the world, and does that make you a criminal concept. I really like the ethical questions of technology. I really like the idea of Obadiah Stane's son wanting to be so unlike his dad that he becomes a pushover but still has a proclivity for technology. I love the idea of Tony Stark's 2 surrogate heirs being Obadiah Stane's kid who's going bio and Riri who's making tech because of her dad, and that father figure being so important to her. I love the idea of adopted family being something that fuels you to want to grow and think. So all of the things I really like, but there's like stop gaps. And so I think the moments where I'm watching the show just be the things that aren't really serving me. I'm thinking, would I be invested in this if it wasn't a Marvel comic? Like, would this be a show? So it's really hard because I'm trying to judge it as a TV show, and also I'm a big Ironheart fan and a Dominique Thorne fan because of my anticipation for it. So those things are kind of at odds with each other.
Okay. I think I don't know. I think I'm somewhere not in the middle of you two, but I am enjoying it for what it was. I'm not like over the moon excited. I got to tell everybody about this, but I think I can appreciate the elements of this show within the MCU that we don't typically get outside of shows like this, you know, it being about this black girl from a lower class group or lower class part of Chicago, and you know she has elements of her within her community, and she lost somebody in a type of way that is more that is very common in you know, in inner city in Chicago. You know, there is a real gang violence problem out there, and the fact that she is somebody who uses her tech and her ability to with the guise of trying to help her community. At least that's her desire, but her going about it in a way that is maybe more unsavory, while also having that desire, but also kind of distancing herself from that community, at least at first, because she wants to kind of guard her heart from, you know, the pain she went through. I found interesting. I like that we have this hero that, or she's not even a hero yet, but have this character that has utilized AI to, in a way, bring her friend back. And now the two of them together are these 2 black girl best friends as this Iron Man heir. I think that's a super unique way and a super unique thing to be a part of the MCU, and especially when they become, you know, more integrated. If they decide to do that, I don't think she's going to be in Doomsday, at least not from the announcements of the chairs. But that
I'm sure she'll be a young Avenger.
Probably. I mean, yeah, she's like what, like 19, 20, somewhere around there.
I mean, they're all pretty grown. They're like the Stranger Things kids.
Yeah, they're all adults at this point, except for Miss Marvel. But yeah, I think that stuff, all the stuff that involves, you know, her relationship to her world now coming from the experience off of Wakanda Forever, I think is interesting. Even though we haven't really addressed much of that, we had like a little bit in the beginning where we talked about it, but it seems like a lot of this stuff is finding a way to have her own problems without addressing the fact that she had this whole experience going to like black royalty, which I find a little interesting. I wish we'd have at least had a line sort of addressing why she can't call them the Wakandans.
Well, at the end of Wakanda Forever, they talk about her not getting to keep the suit, and it felt fairly buttoned up for that, but I don't feel like they've addressed the fact that if she needs money and access and resources, like I feel like they half addressed it in Wakanda, but not in the show at all.
Yeah, because she was there to help them in the wake of them losing their queen, you know? So I feel like they should, you know, be able to help her in some capacity. Her and Shuri have a relationship. And, you know, if Sam and Bucky can call on Wakanda and ask them for help because the suit is literally made of vibranium, I don't see why she shouldn't be able to do the same. But that's neither here nor there. I think the stuff with Obadiah Stane's son is really fun, and I think they are priming him to be either a villain down the road or maybe some sort of contemporary. I feel like it could go down the villain route, but them starting as friends, and then it kind of creates this next level or this legacy thing of, oh, Ironmonger's son versus the legacy of Iron Man. Mm-hmm. And I think that could be a fun thing because I really like his performance thus far. But yeah, I wish this show had it's doing stuff to feel like a show based in Chicago, and it does have this element that there is a authentic Black voice to the show. I wish it would lean more into her relationship with her community and more into her relationship with, the crime within the city. But they're doing this stuff with the heist, and I think the guise of them, doing things that they don't want to for the betterment of people was obviously her way in. But I'm not super endeared to the team at all, and it's weird because we've done this heist thing in the MCU before with Ant-Man's team, but we were super endeared to them, like Luis and T.I. and then David Dastmalchian's character. They were all super fun, but I don't feel that same level of attachment, or I'm not rooting for this team to see them all kind of interact or achieve their goals or whatnot.
I think that's why I was so easy to be like, oh, bad guys. Like when Greg was like, oh, they're going to be bad guys. No, and I think if they had been more magnanimous or charismatic towards even Riri, I would have felt like, oh, I wonder if they'll like kind of subvert expectations for a little bit until the hood turns. Like the changes I would make are the hood being corrupted over time and having it be, you be curious if that corruption is making them make bigger and bigger risks instead of just, and I would have a little bit more of the Robin Hood element of like them being good guys on the surface, and maybe they're all like, some level of genius and some level of intelligence that felt wronged by the system, because it is a show about like, the way the system doesn't serve people unless they're in it. And I don't feel like it's saying any of that. Like, I feel like it's there, like how the system didn't serve any of them, but only with Riri do I feel like, how did these people get screwed over? And I would love to show where it's like, on one side, she has her family and she has Xavier and she has Alden and that whole world being like above board. And then below board, she has her second family who all got screwed by the system. So she feels more torn about doing bad things for the right reasons. Instead, I'm like, she's just doing some villainy.
Yeah.
And like, I like the idea as someone who didn't grow up with, lots of money, wondering what my line is. And they've kind of dabbled with, I'm doing bad things. And Greg at one point said like, Natalie's the hero of the show and she's doing the heroic things. I want that element of Ironheart. She's actually an anti-hero. She's doing not heroic stuff. And like, she's not killing anyone, but there's so much more that I think I keep writing my own story.
Yeah. And I think
a lot of potential.
What you guys are highlighting is exactly what I meant by there's a lot of great intention